There are nights when silence feels heavier than words, nights when your phone is quiet, your room feels empty, and the world outside seems to be moving on without you. It's in these moments that loneliness cuts the deepest. You wonder if anyone truly sees you, if anyone cares enough to notice your hidden battles, or the tears you wipe away before they fall on your pillow. But loneliness, as painful as it feels, is never a sign of being abandoned. In fact, it is often the moment when you are most deeply seen. It is the moment when your heart whispers the truths your lips are too tired to speak, and it is the moment when a presence, unseen yet undeniable, wraps around you like a gentle embrace. Think about it. In your happiest times, people surround you. In your successes, voices cheer for you. But when the laughter fades and the doors close, who is still there with you in the quiet? It is in that sacred silence that you discover you were never truly alone. Every tear you've shed in secret has been noticed. Every broken thought that passed through your mind has been understood. Every prayer you whispered, even the ones you forgot to finish, has been heard. You may not feel an answer immediately, but the comfort always comes, sometimes in the calmness of your heart, sometimes in the strength you didn't know you had, and sometimes in the light that slowly enters your darkest nights. Loneliness has a way of pushing you deeper into yourself until you realize you're not walking through the night alone. You're being held, carried even, through the very moments you thought would break you. So when you find yourself lying awake at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering if your existence matters, remember this: you are seen, you are loved, you are not forgotten. The quiet of your room is not empty. It is filled with a closeness stronger than any human companionship. And perhaps that is the gift hidden inside loneliness, to remind you that even when the world is distant, you are never truly on your own. There comes a time in every life when loneliness feels like an unbearable weight. It doesn't matter how many friends you have, how many people surround you in a crowded room, or how busy your life looks on the outside. There are moments when you feel utterly unseen. The silence of those moments can be louder than noise, and the emptiness can pierce deeper than words ever could. You begin to wonder, am I truly alone? Has the world forgotten me? But loneliness is not the same as abandonment. Loneliness is an emotion, an internal experience, while abandonment is a reality of being left behind. And the truth is, no matter how strong the feeling of loneliness becomes, you are never completely abandoned. You may feel isolated, but there is always a nearness around you, one that never leaves even when everyone else does. Think back to the times when you went through your hardest struggles. Maybe you failed an exam, lost a loved one, had a heartbreak, or watched your dreams slip away. In those moments, people may not have understood what you were going through. Some may have tried to help but didn't know how. Others may have disappeared altogether, and that's when loneliness started to creep in. But look closely. Did you not also notice something else? A quiet strength inside you that carried you through? A subtle reassurance that you would make it to tomorrow. That was no accident. That was proof you were never abandoned. Loneliness tricks the mind into believing that silence equals emptiness, but silence can actually be a place of deep connection. When the noise of the world fades, you start to hear the whispers of your own heart. You begin to reflect, to feel, to connect with something much greater than yourself. The stillness you once feared becomes the very space where your soul starts to heal. Sometimes loneliness is not a punishment but a pause. It is life's way of pulling you away from distractions so you can realign, rebuild, and rediscover who you are. It teaches you to be comfortable in your own company. It forces you to stop relying entirely on the presence of people, and instead find stability in a presence that never leaves. People may walk in and out of your life, but that quiet presence remains constant. That's why loneliness doesn't mean abandonment. Imagine sitting alone in your room late at night. The lights are dim, the world outside is asleep, and your heart feels heavy. You might feel like no one knows the depth of your pain. Yet in that very moment, your thoughts, your tears, and your unspoken words are fully known. You may not see it, but you are being seen. You may not hear a voice, but you are being heard. This unseen closeness is what carries you when human companionship fails. Even the most successful, admired, and loved people in the world confess to moments of loneliness. They can be surrounded by thousands, yet still feel a hollow ache inside. That's because no amount of human attention can fill the deeper need of the soul. Loneliness teaches us this hard truth. People are a blessing, but they are not the ultimate cure for our emptiness. True companionship comes from something higher, something eternal, something that never abandons. When you shift your perspective, you begin to see loneliness differently. Instead of asking, "Why am I so alone?" you start to ask, "What is this moment trying to teach me?" You begin to see that loneliness is not the absence of love. It is an invitation to discover love in a deeper, more lasting way. It reminds you that while people may forget, you are always remembered. While people may overlook your worth, you are always valued. And while people may leave, you are never truly left behind. That's the difference between loneliness and abandonment. Loneliness can be a shadow that follows you, but abandonment would mean no one is there at all. And that is never your reality. In the deepest night, in the quietest hour, you are never forgotten. You are never unloved, and you are never, ever truly alone. Tears are one of the most honest languages of the human soul. They flow when words fail, when emotions become too heavy to be contained, when the heart can no longer carry the weight it holds inside. For some, tears come in silence, behind closed doors, away from the eyes of the world. For others, they fall suddenly, in public, uninvited but unstoppable. What is common for every tear is this truth: none of them are meaningless. Every tear carries a story, and every tear is seen. There are tears of joy, when happiness is so overwhelming that the heart overflows in gratitude. There are tears of pain, when life's disappointments and losses strike too deeply. There are tears of longing, when you yearn for something or someone with every part of your being. And there are tears of relief, when the burden you carried for so long finally lifts from your shoulders. Each type of tear tells a chapter of your life. They are not wasted drops of water. They are the essence of your humanity. Many times we think no one notices our pain. We cry in silence, hiding under blankets, or in the quiet of a car, or in the darkness of the night when the world is asleep. We think no one will ever understand this heaviness inside me. But just because people may not see, it doesn't mean those tears vanish into nothingness. Every tear is accounted for. Every tear is witnessed, even the ones that never fall but only burn in the corners of your eyes. Think about the strength it takes to cry. People often associate tears with weakness, but in reality, tears are proof of how deeply the heart feels. To cry is to admit you are human, that you care enough, love enough, hurt enough to be moved to the point of breaking. That rawness, that vulnerability is not a flaw. It's a testament to the depth of your soul, and that depth is not ignored. Every time you've whispered a prayer through your tears, even when you thought no one was listening, those words were heard. Every time you've let out silent cries that never made it into sound, they were still felt. Your tears are never invisible. They are acknowledged in ways far greater than human eyes can perceive. They are stored, remembered, and honored. There is a reason tears bring relief. Have you ever noticed how you feel slightly lighter after crying? It doesn't always solve the problem, but it eases the weight in your chest. That is because tears are not just emotional, they are spiritual. They cleanse, they heal, they release the pain the heart cannot carry forever. To cry is not to collapse. It is to make room for strength to return. When you feel unseen by people, remember that your tears are still seen by something greater. You may think, no one knows the pain I carry, but every time your heart breaks, every time your eyes overflow, it is not ignored. That unseen closeness you sometimes feel after crying, that sudden calm, that renewed ability to breathe again. It's a reminder that your tears are valued, that they carry meaning beyond what you can understand in that moment. Look back at your life and think of the nights you cried yourself to sleep. Somehow, despite the pain, you woke up the next day, you moved forward, you found the strength to keep going. That resilience is no coincidence. Your tears were seen, your pain was acknowledged, and your strength was replenished when you thought you had none left. Every tear is like a seed. It may fall in darkness, it may be unnoticed by the world, but it never goes to waste. Over time, it waters the soil of your soul, and something new grows from it, whether it's wisdom, compassion, or strength. The very tears you once thought were a sign of your breaking often become the source of your rebuilding. So never underestimate the value of your tears. They are not weakness, they are not shame, and they are certainly not invisible. Every tear you've ever cried is known. Every tear carries weight, and every tear is seen. There is something about the night that feels different from the day. When the sun sets and the world begins to quiet down, a stillness takes over that you cannot find in the rush of daylight. Streets grow silent, conversations fade, and distractions slowly disappear. It is in these quiet hours that you begin to feel the weight of your own thoughts. Some people find peace in that silence, others find it heavy and suffocating. But what is certain is that night carries a unique power. It connects you more deeply to yourself, to your heart, and to the presence that never leaves you. During the day, everything competes for your attention. Work, studies, conversations, endless scrolling, constant noise. Your heart is often drowned beneath layers of busyness, but when the night arrives, the world loses its grip on you. Suddenly, you are left with yourself, your fears, your hopes, your memories, your unspoken prayers. That can feel overwhelming because silence has a way of amplifying what we try to hide during the day. Yet this very silence is also a blessing. It strips away the noise so you can hear what truly matters. Think of the moments you've laid awake at night, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Your mind wanders to the things you've lost, the dreams you hold, the people you miss, and the mistakes you wish you could undo. In those hours you feel vulnerable, and yet it is in that vulnerability that connection begins. The night allows you to finally be honest with yourself. You drop the masks you wear for the world and face the truth of what your soul carries. The night is a place where your whispers are heard the loudest, when no one else is awake to listen, when you can't call a friend or pour your heart into someone's ear. You turn inward. You speak to the silence, and somehow you feel as though you are being heard. That's the beauty of night. It reminds you that connection doesn't always need an audience. Sometimes it is just you, your heart, and the unseen closeness that surrounds you. It is no coincidence that some of the most profound prayers, reflections, and moments of clarity happen at night. When the distractions fall away, your soul naturally searches for something deeper. You find yourself asking questions you didn't dare to ask in the daylight. Who am I? What is my purpose? Where am I going? And in those quiet hours, the answers don't always come as words. Sometimes they come as a calmness in your heart, a tear that releases your pain, or a sudden clarity about what step you need to take next. The night teaches you to slow down, to breathe, to reflect, to connect. It holds a sacred kind of intimacy that daylight cannot offer. Think of a child who crawls into their parents' arms in the dark after a nightmare. The comfort feels stronger in the night because everything else is quiet. In the same way, when you turn inward during the night, the comfort you feel is magnified. The stillness makes the connection more real, more personal. For some, the night feels heavy with loneliness. They dread the silence because it reminds them of what they lack: companionship, love, certainty, peace. But even that loneliness can be transformed into connection. The very emptiness you feel becomes the space where closeness can enter. When you stop running from the silence and allow yourself to sit with it, you realize it isn't empty after all. It is full of meaning, full of presence, full of the reminders your soul needs. The night is also where healing often begins. Have you ever noticed how a deep cry at night feels different? How it releases something you've been holding in all day? That release is a form of connection too, a dialogue between your heart and the one who understands it fully. You may not hear a voice in return, but you wake up lighter, stronger, more at peace. That transformation is not random. It's a sign that you were never alone in those moments. So when the night comes and you find yourself awake with heavy thoughts, don't see it as an enemy. See it as an invitation to connect with your truest self, an invitation to connect with the presence that listens to your whispers, an invitation to turn your solitude into strength. The night may feel silent, but it is never empty. It is alive with connection, waiting for you to notice it. Silence has a reputation for being uncomfortable. Many people avoid it because it forces them to face what they would rather ignore. We fill our days with music, conversations, endless scrolling, or background noise just so we don't have to sit with the stillness. Yet, it is in silence where some of the greatest transformations happen. It is in silence that true strength is born. When the world is noisy, it's easy to lose yourself in other people's voices. You hear their opinions, their judgments, their expectations. You get caught up in what society thinks you should be, how you should live, and what success should look like. The noise around you drowns out the whispers of your own soul. But when you enter silence, whether through solitude, reflection, or the stillness of night, those external voices fade and you begin to hear your own truth. That truth is where strength begins. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of clarity. It's the space where you sort through the chaos in your mind and start to recognize what really matters. Think of the times when life pushed you to your limits, when you lost someone you loved, when a dream shattered, when you felt abandoned or betrayed. In those moments, people may have tried to comfort you, but there were parts of the pain they simply couldn't reach. What carried you through wasn't the noise of others. It was the quiet resilience that rose from within you. That quiet was your strength being born. There is something powerful about the strength that grows in silence. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't boast. It doesn't need validation. It is calm, steady, and unshakable. It's the kind of strength that allows you to walk through storms without losing your center. It's the kind of strength that teaches you patience when everything in you wants to break. And most importantly, it's the kind of strength that doesn't depend on the presence of people. It comes from a deeper source, one that cannot be taken away. Many people think strength is about fighting loudly, standing tall, or showing the world how tough you are. But true strength often looks very different. It looks like the person who cries at night and still gets up in the morning to try again. It looks like the one who feels fear but doesn't let it stop them from moving forward. It looks like the quiet determination to keep walking, step by step, even when the path feels endless. That kind of strength is forged in silence, not in noise. Silence also teaches you patience. In a world that constantly tells you to rush, to achieve, to prove yourself, silence reminds you that growth takes time. A seed doesn't bloom the day it is planted. It stays buried in the dark soil, unseen and unnoticed. But within that silence, it gathers the strength to push through the earth and reach for the light. In the same way, your silent struggles are preparing you for breakthroughs you may not yet see. Think of the strongest people you know. Chances are their strength wasn't built during easy times. It was formed in their silent battles, the nights when no one else was around, the moments they wrestled with themselves, the hours they endured without applause or recognition. Their strength was born when they chose not to give up in silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is creation. It is where courage is formed, where resilience is shaped, where endurance is cultivated. It's in those quiet moments, when you're alone with your thoughts, your prayers, and your tears, that you're being refined. Every time you've sat in silence with your pain and chosen not to let it define you, you've grown stronger. Every time you've endured the waiting, the uncertainty, and the unanswered questions, you've been building a strength that no one can see, but everyone will feel when the time comes. Strength born in silence is the kind of strength that lasts. Noise may give you temporary courage, but silence gives you endurance. It equips you to face life not just with loud determination, but with quiet confidence. And that confidence is far more powerful because it doesn't depend on the world's approval. It depends on the resilience of your spirit. So when life feels unbearably quiet, when the silence around you feels heavy and endless, remember this: silence is not your weakness, it is your training ground. It is where your deepest strength is being born, quietly, steadily, unshakably, preparing you for the moments when you will need it most. There are moments in life when loneliness feels overwhelming. You can be sitting in a room full of people and still feel invisible, as if no one truly understands the storm inside you. You may scroll through endless feeds online, watching people laugh, celebrate, and live seemingly perfect lives, and yet feel a hollow ache in your own chest. That ache convinces you that you are on your own, carrying burdens no one can share, but the truth is, you are never truly alone. It's easy to believe that solitude means abandonment. When the calls stop coming, when friends drift away, or when the person you thought would stand beside you forever walks away, you begin to think, maybe I don't matter. Maybe I'm meant to walk this path by myself. But what you don't realize in those fragile moments is that unseen eyes are still on you, unseen love still surrounds you, and unseen strength is still being poured into you. Your solitude is not a void. It is filled with a presence that never leaves. Think about the nights you've cried quietly, too exhausted to explain your pain to anyone. You may have felt like your tears fell into emptiness, but somehow, after the storm of emotions passed, a calmness came. It didn't erase the pain, but it gave you enough strength to stand again. That calmness wasn't random. It was a reminder that even in your loneliest hour you were being held. You are never truly alone because every thought, every tear, every whisper of your heart is known. Even when the world doesn't notice the battles you fight in silence, they are not overlooked. When no one sees the effort you put into surviving another day, it is still recognized. Your struggle matters even when it feels invisible. Being human means craving companionship, longing to be understood, and needing someone to lean on. But people, as valuable as they are, cannot always fill that need. They get busy, they get distracted, they sometimes fail to show up. That doesn't mean your worth is any less. It means that the space they leave behind is meant to be filled by something more constant. Something that never turns away, never forgets, and never grows tired of listening to you. There's a certain kind of strength that grows in realizing you are never truly alone. It allows you to walk through challenges without collapsing under the weight of isolation. It gives you courage in the darkest nights and steadiness in the most uncertain times. This strength doesn't come from people's applause or presence. It comes from a deeper connection, one that exists even in silence. Consider the times in your past when you thought you couldn't go on. Maybe it was a heartbreak that shattered you, a failure that humiliated you, or a loss that left you breathless with grief. At that time, you may have felt like no one understood, like no one could possibly help. But here you are today, you survived, you found the strength to keep moving, even when it felt impossible. That strength didn't come from nowhere, it came because you were never left alone to carry it all by yourself. When you walk outside and feel the breeze on your face, when you hear the quiet rustle of trees, or when you see light breaking through the darkness of dawn, these are reminders too. Subtle signs whispering that life itself is walking with you, holding you, reminding you that your story still matters. You were not abandoned, you were accompanied in ways you may not have noticed. Even in your quietest moments you are seen. Even in your deepest pain you are understood. Even in your loneliest nights you are surrounded. The world may not always offer the comfort you seek, but that doesn't mean comfort is absent. It simply means it comes from a place far greater than people. So when the ache of loneliness creeps in, when you feel disconnected and unseen, remind yourself gently, you are not walking through this life on your own. You are guided, you are carried, and you are loved, whether you feel it in the moment or not. You are never truly alone. Loneliness is one of the most difficult emotions a human being can face. It creeps into your heart quietly, sometimes when you least expect it. You might be surrounded by people, smiling and talking as if everything is fine, yet deep down you feel disconnected, unseen, and unheard. Other times, you might be physically alone sitting in your room, walking down a street, or lying awake at night, feeling the emptiness pressed down on your chest. Loneliness can make you question your worth, your place in the world, and even the purpose of your existence. But what if loneliness isn't just a void? What if it's a reminder that love exists in a form far beyond what people can give? Human love is beautiful, but it is limited. People can care deeply for you, but they cannot be with you every second of the day. They have their own lives, their own struggles, their own weaknesses. They may love you, but still fail to understand you completely. They may want to stay, yet sometimes they leave. They may promise forever, but life can take them away. Relying solely on human love means you will eventually face disappointment, because no one can fill your soul's deepest hunger. That is where loneliness comes in. It is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is a gentle nudge, a quiet whisper, reminding you that your heart was made for something greater than the love of people. It was created to connect with a love that never leaves, never fails, and never runs out. A love that does not depend on moods, circumstances, or human imperfection. Think about the moments when you felt most lonely. Maybe it was after losing someone you cherished. Maybe it was during a season when friendships faded, or when life pulled you in a direction no one else seemed to understand. In those times, you may have longed desperately for someone to hold you, to listen, to reassure you that you matter. But as painful as that loneliness was, it also revealed something profound. No human could fill the space inside your heart completely. That space was designed for a different kind of love. This deeper love shows up in subtle ways. It's in the unexpected peace that washes over you after crying your heart out. It's in the strength you suddenly find to keep going when you thought you had nothing left. It's in the way the sunrise still greets you after the darkest night, reminding you that life goes on, and so will you. These are not coincidences. They are reminders that you are surrounded by love even when people fail to show up. Loneliness teaches you to stop searching for your worth in other people's approval. It teaches you that while relationships are valuable and necessary, they are not the ultimate source of your identity. You begin to understand that your value isn't defined by who chooses to stay or who decides to leave. You are valuable because you exist, because your heart beats, because your soul was crafted with intention. No person can give you that worth, and no person can take it away. When you embrace this truth, loneliness becomes less of a burden and more of a teacher. Instead of seeing it as emptiness, you start to see it as space to discover yourself, space to grow stronger, space to connect with the love that transcends human limitations. That love is constant, unconditional, and unbreakable. It does not come and go with seasons. It is there in your highest moments of joy and in your lowest valleys of despair. Even when you feel completely forgotten, you are remembered. Even when you feel invisible, you are seen. Even when you feel unworthy, you are cherished. Loneliness reminds you of this because it strips away the illusion that people can be your everything. It pushes you to look beyond them, to find comfort in a love that cannot be lost. So the next time loneliness knocks at your door, don't see it only as a sign of what you lack. See it as a reminder of what you already have, a connection to a love greater than people, a love that is patient with your flaws, gentle with your pain, and strong enough to carry you through anything.